Number 4, appreciating the importance of physical and mental health. Kind of like what we just tied into on, I tied into the discipline and respect. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners learn to take care of their bodies and minds. Understanding the physical and mental health are essential for successful practice of the martial art. 100% agree. If you are not in a good headspace, you are going to feel it when you step on the mats. If you are having a hard day and you can't get out of your own head, you are going to get in your own way on the mats. You know what I mean? Like you have to be able to separate on and off the mats. You have to be able to clear your head, stay in physical condition, because you can't come to class and do jiu-jitsu if you're injured and you're going to be, you can't, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't even do this move because I was out partying all night and I fell down some stairs, or I'm completely hungover and I'm trying to do this on the mat,
Oh, absolutely. And, not being able to mentally be in the moment in class, we've all been there when the instructor's teaching and you're drifting off in the la-la land and all of a sudden it's drilling time and you have no idea what they just went over.
Yep. Completely agree.
Yeah, it's interesting on the mental health part. I think a lot of people, like for myself, I'll listen to some like Stoicism podcasts in the morning, or I'll listen to something on my way to the gym, and that's really just to get me in the right mind frame to be ready to receive whatever the instructor's putting out.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is having good mental health allows others to help you more. Because if you have a clear mind and you're not having all the outside chatter and outside noise of your life distracting you from what is going on in front of you, it's a whole lot easier to accept people wanting to help you, accepting criticism. Man, I'll tell you what, how hard is it to accept criticism when you're already having a bad day?
Oh, it's horrible.
You know what I mean?
Horrible.
Like, could you imagine if you were on the mats and you're absolutely sucking for the day, and your coach comes over and says, hey, you're absolutely sucking today.
Yes. Thank you for the confirmation.
You know what I mean? Like, in more or less terms, you know what I mean? But like, they come over and they're like, hey, you start feeling like they're nitpicking you, or, you're just not doing anything right. If you don't have strong mental health during that time, man, you could just get up and walk away. You know what I mean? Like, John and I both have had situations where we stopped training in the middle of class because someone's mental health like snapped on us. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely.
But so it's hard.
Yeah, and it's if you're going to be the one giving the advice or giving the correction, like I guess maybe figuring out the perfect time to also give it would be a good awareness.
Yeah.
I watch my daughter in her basketball games and everything, and I can see what she's doing wrong, during the game. And as soon as it's over, I gotta like bite my tongue because I want to start correcting like immediately, right? And it's just realizing that they're doing it from a good place, right? They can obviously see where you need the help.
Yeah. So as a coach, if you're listening to this and you're a coach out there, how do you approach the importance of physical and mental health when you're coaching someone?
Right.
I think hit us up on Instagram or in the YouTube comments on how this works for you, because and how do you preach it to your students? Because I feel like in class, we focus so much on the physical aspect of jiu-jitsu, and now there's, we obviously we're doing a whole episode about philosophy, but I do feel like there's a little bit more philosophy going into coaching jiu-jitsu, but it's definitely much further behind than I would like it to see. We do this stuff in class now where, it's like, give a little bit of instruction. This is your goal. Get at it. Josh McKenzie calls it, designated winner, or designated winner. And then there's other names out there for it. And I think that's a great thing for the mental health of people in jiu-jitsu, because it lets their mind figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, I think that's an early struggle, right? Especially if you're a new practitioner, you're going with whatever your coach or instructor tells you, like, and sometimes it's a little tough, right? Some people learn by, they need to experiment and they need to figure it out and they need to just listen to their body and go through the motions. So sometimes it's hard to be regimented and just listen to someone.
Right. Especially if you're sitting in this moment and you're like, man, they're showing me how to do this, but what if I were to do this?
Yeah.
And it kind of gives you that pathway of being able to explore and build that mental fortitude of like, okay, well, that's why it doesn't work.
Yeah, and I've done that in class. You're like, all right, I want to try this, and it does not work out, and you get crushed, and you're like, all right, never trying that one again. Lesson learned.
Right.
That avenue was not correct.
Right. So how does it play into real life, John?
Well, I think
That was a big groan.
well, that's a tough one to think about, man. Like,
You don't think that there's correlations to you having physical and mental health, like knowing accepting the importance, like translating into
yeah,
real
I
life?
think so. I think when you're in poor physical condition, like I'll go post surgery, right?
Yeah.
I had really poor mental health at the same time because the things I wanted to do, I couldn't do.
Ooh, yeah.
It's like some of those days when you're like, man, I feel like going for a run. Like you really want to go for a run. You look outside and it's like thunderstorms, raining,
Yeah.
snowing, blizzard, and then you're stuck inside and you just have all that energy you can't let out. Like that's how I felt. And it just, me being physically shit was affecting my mental
Oh man, that's
capability.
such a good.
And then when
point.
it goes for so long, it's hard to get out of that cycle.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I can definitely see how they relate. And I think too, like, to me, yoga seems very much like a philosophy. I know it sounds weird to say it that way, but you're in like a real mental space when
Yeah.
you're doing yoga. Like you're really expanding and, you're thinking about everything. That's why I feel like a lot of BJJ practitioners also do the yoga.
Yeah, and it definitely there's that mind body connection that comes through jiu-jitsu or physical training, and I think also jiu-jitsu puts it in perspective how out of shape you actually are. You know what I mean? So you start thinking about life choices and how to improve your physical and mental health. Like you're going to like jiu-jitsu makes you think about doing things outside of jiu-jitsu to help improve both of these.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's a big takeaway too, is because you start to realize like, man, I'm going to go to class and during the warm-ups, my physical condition is so poor. My mental fortitude is so poor. I'm going to need to do something in order to improve this for class. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because how many times does your mind quit before your body?
Oh man, that's a good one.
You know what I mean? Like your mind will stop you well before your body does when you have poor mental.
Yeah, that's
Mental
like
health.
when you beat yourself down, right? When it's all in your head and it's not a reality.
Right, you're like getting smashed inside control, and finally you just let them pass, or you just let them do whatever they're gonna do. You know what I mean? Like instead of trying to build that mental strength to like I can get through this. I know I can do this, or build the physical strength outside of class to be able to execute some of these